What is going on, YouTube? This is Mohammed, your personal PMP coach from Certified with Ease, helping you get PMP certified the fastest and the easiest way possible. Welcome to our new series where every single week I'll be releasing 2 videos solving 5 problems. Okay, so 10 problems every single week, 5 problems every single video. You can find the document in the description below. I'll leave a link. You'll have my principles on the right-hand side. Remember, some of these questions can be a little bit easy, but the purpose is to practice as much as possible to master the PMP mindset. And remember always, guys, I have a course. If you're interested, please check it out, book an appointment with me, and let's get you certified. Okay, but for this video, let's jump into these 5 PMP questions that you're likely to see on your PMP exam. So let's move on to the first question. Remember, my principle is really easy. Number 1, we frame the problem. Number 2, we eliminate the answers that contradict our principles or that do not solve the core problem. And number 3, we pick the answer that best solves the problem, okay? So we are going to start with that, the problem statement, PS, problem statement. Now, remember, when you're reading the question, you want to read with intent. You want to read with the purpose, with the intention of understanding what the problem is. Let's go. A PM is part of a team responsible for launching several features to meet a new regulatory requirement. During the stand-up meeting, a software engineer mentioned that the progress on a crucial feature is paused until the assigned designer finishes a specific task. This delay poses a significant obstacle to meeting the release deadline. What should the PM do? Okay. The problem statement is very simple. So over here we have a situation where a critical feature or crucial feature is paused. Okay. As a result, we have a delay. So my problem statement is going to be that there's a delay. Okay. A delay because of pausing the progress for this feature. Great. Now that we understand our problem statement, we want to eliminate the answers that contradict our principles. So let's move on. You'll have the principles on the right-hand side. Take a look at them. A, meet with the design team manager to update them on the situation and request an additional designer. So we never want to request additional staff right away. And that is why I'm going to eliminate this answer, because this contradicts principle number 2. When we hire people or when we ask for an additional team member, we are implying that we are ready to put money forward. We don't want to do that. Not right away. Ask the software engineer to proceed without completing the crucial feature. Okay. However, does this solve the core problem? Ask yourself that question. A software engineer mentioned the progress on a crucial feature is paused, and this delay poses a significant obstacle. So B completely ignores the problem. We're still going to have this delay. What should we do about it? I'm going to eliminate it based on the fact that problem statement not addressed. C, contact the design team manager to review the priority list given the circumstances. Okay, I like that, right? You're contacting the design team manager for the purpose of discussing and reviewing the priority list. So this sounds like principle number 1. Let's see what D is about. Meet with the designer to discuss the situation and come up with a plan to complete the task. Okay. Now, we are stuck with questions or answers C and D. One of them says to meet with the design team manager to review the priority list given the current circumstances. D says meet with the designer to discuss the situation, come with a plan to complete the task. I'm going to read the problem again one more time. A PM is part of a team responsible for launching several features. During the stand-up meeting, a software engineer mentioned that the progress on a crucial feature is paused until the assigned designer finishes a specific task. Good. So I think that the best person to speak to is going to be the designer. This person over here. Why? Because the designer is going to know what needs to be done in order to finish this task. Why? Because the designer is the one who is responsible for the specific task. My answer is going to be, okay, C and D both follow principle number 1, but D involves the right person. So the best answer here is excellent. Let's move on to question number 2. Remember, guys, I have a PMP course. If you're interested, book an appointment with me so you don't have to wait. You can get certified immediately and we can get this over with together. I can hold your hand throughout the entire process. And forgot to mention, it's completely risk-free. You don't pass, you don't lose anything. All right? Anyways, question number 2. Let me choose the highlighter over here. Okay, so remember, problem statement. A PM is collaborating with a customer's team on a new project. Although some product definitions and requirements remain unclear, the customer wants to begin work as soon as possible. Additionally, the organization has a fixed product delivery deadline due to regulatory requirements. Given the project's nature, the project manager has chosen to implement a hybrid approach. Why did the project manager choose a hybrid approach? Okay. Now, obviously, I'll have to make these questions a little bit different. But on your exam, you're not going to see the question, why did the project manager choose a hybrid approach? You'll see somewhere more along the lines of, what should the project manager do? So they'll give you a situation and they'll ask you, what approach should the project manager take? That's what you'll see on the exam, okay? We have to make this question a little bit different so we don't completely copy the PMP style, but that's what you'll see on your actual exam, all right? So cool. Let's look at this. So the problem statement here is that we have some product definitions and requirements. They are unclear, and the customer wants to begin work as soon as possible. The organization, though, has a fixed product delivery deadline due to regulatory requirements. Okay, so we have two things going on here. So for Agile, we have unclear requirements. And for predictive, we have the fact that we have a fixed delivery date. So remember, when we have a fixed delivery date, that is an Agile characteristic. And we want to make sure that we get to that date. Half of, or at least some of the things are Agile based, and the other things are predictive. So that being said, when we combine these two things together, we're going to have a hybrid approach. Okay, let's look at the answers now. A hybrid approach will allow project activities to begin right away while providing a framework for defining requirements. Okay. A hybrid approach will give the project manager flexibility to revise the product specifications. A hybrid approach will help manage both the uncertainties around requirements and fixed deadline. Okay, I like that. A hybrid approach will guarantee the delivery date is met and eliminate uncertainties about the project. Okay. So this is not really our typical situation-based question. This is mainly, okay, is this project hybrid-based? But since all the solutions say hybrid-based, we kind of have to dig into each one. D is not going to be the answer because we cannot eliminate uncertainties no matter what approach we take. Uncertainties will always be there. C is what I'm leaning towards because a hybrid approach will help manage both uncertainties around the requirements and the fixed deadline, and that's what we want. We want to be able to accommodate for both the fixed deadline and uncertainties around the requirements. Okay. A hybrid approach will give the project manager flexibility to revise the product specifications. That's great. That's requirements. But what about the deadline? A hybrid approach will allow the project activities to begin right away while providing a framework for defining requirements. Okay. Yeah, but not necessarily, because for a hybrid approach, we still have the predictive part, so we can't necessarily begin the project activities right away. I'm going to go with C. That's going to be my answer. Let's see what they say. C is the answer over here. A hybrid approach will help manage both the uncertainties around the requirements and the fixed deadline. Awesome. Let's move on to question number 3. A project team has raised concerns that some remote team members are struggling to collaborate with the rest of the team because of their work schedules. The PM is puzzled as the entire team is in the same time zone and suspects there may be other underlying issues. What should the project manager do next? Okay, so the problem statement here is simple, is that the team is struggling to collaborate, okay, with the rest of the team. That's our problem statement. So if the team is struggling to collaborate with the rest of the team, we also know that they're remote, which is going to be important. What should the project manager do? Introduce new solutions. Okay. Assess the virtual collaboration needs of the team. I like that. Assess, one of the key words, taking a step back, looking at what is required, investigating different solutions. So B should always come before A. Address any violations of the team ground rules. There's no violations being done here. This doesn't solve the core problem, so I'm not going to choose this. Conduct a formal review of performance. Again, this is not a performance issue. This is simply the fact that the team members are struggling to collaborate. So I'm not going to choose this either. The best answer here is going to be B. Okay? Pretty simple, but again, I want you to understand this one point and one point only. Principle number 1. Look at the list. Principle number 1 is on top of the list for a reason. This is going to be imperative for you to passing the exam. You will see many times on your exam principle number 1. If you're not able to select that principle number 1, or if you're not able to see it, then you're going to miss out on a lot of answers. So make sure that you understand that we're not only looking for the key words, we are looking for this concept of taking a step back and looking at whatever is available and then deciding on a solution. So A jumps straight to the solution. You'll notice it's vague. What solutions? We don't care because we wanna do principle number 1 first, okay, which is going to be B. Awesome. Okay. Question 4. A company is carrying out a project with the team members spread across various countries and time zones. While individual performance is adequate, the overall team performance is poor, particularly in group activities. What should the project manager do? Okay. So team member, team team is worldwide, says team worldwide or located worldwide, and performance is poor, but mainly group activities. So group activities or like collaboration is basically at an all-time low. Let's put it that way. Okay. Again, problem statement, you want to frame it in a way that you understand. Reevaluate and redistribute team assignments. Okay. Now I want to ask you this question. How does that solve the core problem? Reevaluate is technically principle number 1. But again, you always want to make sure that your answers are solving the core problem. How does this solve the core problem? It doesn't. It's not about team assignments. It's not about what they're working on. It's about the fact that the performance is poor because of this group activity situation. Discuss or promote communication and team building efforts. That could be a solution. Promote communication and team building efforts. I like that. Discuss the possibility of adding new team members. Okay, so does this solve the core problem? No. We are not at a resource shortage situation. We simply have a performance issue, particularly in group activities. D, review and revise the communications management plan. Okay, I could see how this fits in, but let's just discuss it a little bit more. So, individual performance is adequate. The overall team performance is poor, particularly in group activities. Okay, you know what? D is not going to be it. So my thought process was, you know what? Group activities are poor. Okay, group activities, communication, but that doesn't mean that it's a communication problem. It does not mean it's a communication problem. The question does not mention that. If they said, for example, team members don't know what other team members are working on, That's a communication problem because they're not communicating with one another. Saying that group activities or performance is poor, particularly in group activities, is not a communication problem because we don't know what this performance actually entails. D is not going to be the answer. B is going to be the best answer. Promote communication and team building efforts. Excellent. We got it. Last question of the day. Question number 5. In the third iteration of a project, the product owner requests an additional mandatory feature. That's interesting. So, third iteration of a project, the product owner requests an additional mandatory feature. Now, remember, when a sprint is being executed, you do not, everything freezes. You do not want to add extra features. Unless, for example, it's a government standard, the government comes along and says, you know what? Every single item that's in this industry has to have this now. Then you have to stop the sprint and reassess. Now, we have to figure out what what mandatory actually means, okay? That's just a key point to understand. This has occurred in the previous 2 sprints as well, leading to failures and causing frustration within the team. What should the project manager do next? Okay, so this has been reoccurring. So most probably means that, you know what, this product owner doesn't really know what he or she is doing, or these are not actually mandatory features. But anyways, let's look through the answers. Before that, let's get to our problem statement. So product owner wants to add a feature, but let's just say sprint started. Okay, so they're executing the sprint. Ask the Scrum team to prioritize the product backlog. Okay. Have the product owner work with the project team to prioritize the backlog. Yes. Arrange an internal meeting to discuss the changes and their value. Okay. Include the changes in the final sprint before the first release. All right. Ask the Scrum team, to prioritize the product backlog. Now that technically makes sense because you do not want to divert from what you're currently working on. So you won't see a Scrum team on your exam. You see like Agile team or something like that, right? So don't get confused. But let's just see what else there is because we're technically ignoring the fact that the product owner has brought this mandatory feature request. Have the product owner work with the project team to prioritize the backlog. Okay, that could be a good thing because remember our principle on your right hand side, our team members are the experts. So work with them, right? Work with them to understand what needs to be done. If the product owner does that, then there might not be additional mandatory features that occur. So I like this solution. Arrange an internal meeting to discuss the changes and their value. Ooh, I like this one too. Arrange to discuss the changes and their value. Oh, guys, I like this one too. Because here, listen, here's the thing. This mandatory feature can be very important. I know the product owner has done this a couple of times, but this time it might be really important. So if we take a step back and discuss their value, then we can move forward and make a better decision. So like C, include the changes in the final sprint before the first release. So this we won't do. So include the changes in the final sprint before the first release. We're kind of ignoring it. We're kind of delaying. So we won't pick this, right? This is a delay. Because if we include the changes in the final sprint when we need it right now, what's the point, right? So this is principle number 2. I'm gonna take a chance on this, guys. I'm gonna go for C. See what the answer is. C, we got it. Okay. Yeah. Principle number 1 in action. C, take a step back, discuss the changes and their value. Now, B is very close to how the product owner work with the project team to prioritize the backlog. Okay. But the thing is, I kind of thought about it, and we're not at that stage where we should prioritize the backlog again. We're doing the sprint. We're committed to the sprint right now. It's not the time to prioritize the backlog. We can do that after we're done the sprint. So because this is a mandatory feature, we want to really assess it. We want to make sure that we're not missing out on something that's important. Okay. Principle number one, very simple, a little bit tricky, but this question was a very good question. Very good. Okay. Guys, I got a PMP Accelerator course, like I mentioned. If you're interested, please book an appointment with me. Remember, there's no risk. Okay. No risk whatsoever. If you don't pass, you don't lose anything, meaning you don't pay. Okay. No risk, no pass, no pay. Okay. All right, guys, because I want you guys to do well. I want you guys to pass and get better opportunities. Move on with your life, right? Get certified in 30 days, the proven exam focused approach. If you're interested, book an appointment and I will show you my course. If you like how I use the methodology, the principles, that's exactly how I teach my course. Thank you so much for watching this video. I will catch you in the next one. Take care and have a fantastic rest of the day.